You're listening to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, episode number 91. Welcome to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, a show anchored in reality to help you create a balanced life where you enjoy both your work and your life, because you don't have to choose. I am your host, Cecile Ferry, a corporate executive turned coach and working mom. This is your place for insights, advice, and tools to optimize your career direction, balance, and confidence. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to the podcast. How are you doing? I hope the month of May has started off well for you. I really feel this is going to be a great month for us. I don't think I say that every month. I just know April was really hard. So you're not alone if you found that you've been battling a lot of things. You've been tired, like there's been a lot of challenges. Hello. Yes, true, correct. All of the above. May will start getting easier, especially the second half. So hang in there. I am recording this, so it's the end of my week, and I'm actually looking back, and maybe that's a nice thing for you to do. Do you do that at the end of the week? Looking back, and sometimes we tend to judge our week based on what we've ticked off our to-do list. But I did today more like a list of impact that I've had this week, because I've realized I've had a lot this week. That's why I feel amazing. And I just started listening because I have been impacting my clients this week, tremendous, and I've had amazing feedback actually. I started doing my first birth chart reading, so I'm just gonna leave it out there. I'm not yet taking bookings for that, but I have started with a close friend, and it was an absolute game changer for her. So this is a bit of a teaser. I wasn't planning on actually talking about it, but yeah, I've now finished my course and I'm thinking of opening up soon to you guys. So stay tuned. But that was a massive impact to that person. That literally changed the direction of their work life and probably their whole life. I just can't tell you that when you get that sort of feedback. All right. And then I've had other clients. I have been making really meaningful changes. So I think it's important that we look back. And I think that actually ties nicely to today's topic. So I'm hoping this episode will be a little shorter because I'm trying to do more of them. And if I just go on and on and on talking for hours, it makes it extra long for me to edit it and to post it out for you. That is something I'm trying to work on and I'm failing at miserably. So today is another time when I'm going to try this. So I'm going to get launched into it right now, and we are going to talk together about your career achievement. You ready? Let's get into it. All right, so the inspiration for this episode comes from my event last night. And I love it when I'm like looking for a topic to talk about. And yesterday I was attending a networking event. It was in Melbourne for women in research. So it's an industry I'm part of that I really like. That is not too big. And I really like twice a year, we all gather in a room with a guest speaker. So I was there last night, and there was a panel discussion of 4 women that are quite advanced in the industry, all from different companies. They all brought amazing nuggets. So maybe they're listening, shout out to them. So I was listening, and 2 of those women I know quite well because I have worked with them. So I was really excited to listen. And the panel discussion was fascinating. And they talked about their challenges. They talked about what really created good work. They talked about how they got comfortable with being uncomfortable. It was very inspiring. And it was high level stuff, like strategic as each brought different things, like the kind of panel discussion that you are just like hanging on to. Like that's how I felt. Until towards the end, there was one question asked, and the question was, well, can you please, each of you, talk about your biggest career achievement? And you know what happened then? The mic was passed around and no one had anything to say. Like, I'm just going to say that again because I was just gobsmacked. I was just shocked at that point. And that's why I'm here. Because I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? And they were just literally struggling to come up with an answer. And they didn't have one. And I was just shaking my head in disbelief. But I actually know for a fact, two of those women, I have seen them in their jobs. And I can tell you 3 to 5 great career achievements that I have seen from the sideline working in the same team as them. But they couldn't. And it took them a while. And then finally, one came out with one achievement, but it wasn't really a career achievement. It was a study achievement. It was achieving her MBA. I'm not saying it's not an achievement. Far from it. But you'll bear with me because I really want to prove a point here, and I want to just hopefully get you all to stop doing one thing and to change that and to start doing something else when it comes to talking about your career achievement. So one talked about an MBA and then someone else talked about a psychology degree, right? So we got something, but otherwise in terms of their work, they had nothing to share. What the hell, people? Like, I really thought right then, oh my God, I need to do a podcast on that. And you can feel I'm still very much triggered by it, and I'm very much reacting to this. Because how could those brilliant women, those extremely intelligent women, stand up in front of us and not know what their career achievements were? And I would even go as far as saying, kind of dismiss them altogether. Like, I was like, something is going on here and something is very, very wrong. So that's why I'm here today, and I want to talk about career achievement. And maybe you're listening and you're like, good question. What are my career achievements? And maybe you can't think of them at the top of your head. If you can't, well, you are in great company, clearly. But I hope by the end of this podcast, no more. So I'm going to be probably quite passionate about today's topic. It's probably going to sound like the most feminist episode I have ever done, but I'm not going to stop. You won't be able to stop me because I just feel like this is such a shame. Such a shame. And women are holding themselves back here freaking big time. If that panel had been with 4 guys and they had been asked their career achievements, I bet you we could not have shut them up. They would have tried to outshine each other. Like, no. On the other hand, silence. Crickets is what I heard last night when it's not the case. So why couldn't these amazing women not express their own career achievement? And likewise, why might it be difficult for you? So I know, like, when you go and interview for a job, that might be a typical question and we prepare for it. But I don't buy that. Like we said, but that feels like a token, right? That's not what I'm talking about here today. That is just a ticker box. Okay, I need to, talk about what I've done in the past. I'll just select a few random things that make me look good, right? This is just like promoting yourself a bit. No, but I want you to know what you've done, and I want you to be proud, and I want you to share that so that it can inspire other people. So that's what we're going to get into today. Okay, so I pondered when I prepared this episode, why is it hard for women to talk about their career achievements? Like, no other question was a problem last night. That one had them all stuck. I think it's 2 things. First of all, we don't like to brag about ourselves. We have this kind of modesty. I wouldn't even call it a women's syndrome, really. I think it's part of our programming. And we tend to not want to, put ourselves into the spotlight. We don't like to shine the light on ourselves. We don't like to spook up our work, our result. And if we get given a compliment or something, if we get put in that situation, we will brush it off out of modesty, out of respect, we think, of other people, because we don't want to look that we are above other people, right? We're afraid to appear superior. We're afraid to show off, So we stay small. We kind of, we think this is actually what's gonna be acceptable, and we think that's also what we want. We think we're gonna feel safer that way. And we just stay in that little place where no, not really anything. Okay. Some of us will be different degrees based on our personality, but I'm pretty sure there's a common denominator in most women about this. Hear me on this. This stuff that we are all doing, this helps no one. This helps no one listening to you. This doesn't even help you. This is a disservice. This is a lose-lose scenario for anybody. We think we've got something to gain by holding back, but actually we are just letting people down, and we're letting ourselves down. So this politeness, this reservedness, this humility, this kind of smallness, we need to stop, because we are doing it and we're passing it on generation to generation. It's a pattern. Our moms were like that, our grandmas were like that, and we're doing it, and our daughters are going to be doing the same if we don't stop. And so we need to stand up. And those 4 women last night, they are still living it. And it's not their fault. A lot of it lives in the unconscious collective of women. And when, there was 100 women in the room, they watched them not know and not answer that question. What do you think it did for them? Unconsciously reinforce that neural pathway that, we don't really talk about our achievements. And so it goes. And so it goes. So whoever you are listening to this, I hope you can remember this. If you find yourself in another room and that question is being asked, whether you're in the audience or you're the one this is being asked to, and then you can remember and be like, my tendency will be to, really, not that much, nothing to talk about, and to interrupt that pattern. Now, this is really, really important. And I don't care about International Women's Day, talking about it once a year. I'm talking to you about it in May, outside of it, because this is every day that I see it in the workplaces. That dismissing and that, diminishing and literally shrinking the value of what we've done. As I said, it serves no one, and no one has asked us to do it. So we have to stop. All right, rant over. The second reason why I think we're doing this is that we actually don't value ourselves, those achievements. We are not giving ourselves the credit. We're not looking at ourselves saying, wow, look what I achieved there. This was really good. We don't attach value to what I'm going to talk about. But what do we value? We value qualifications. Women are great at that. If I had $1 for every client that I coach who said, for my next step, in order to feel like I'm ready or in order to feel confident, I need a degree. I need to study something. I want the qualification. Qualifications are just so big in a women's world for some reason. Why? It's because it's a result, it's an achievement, absolutely, but it's an achievement that is easily publicized, easily acceptable socially, because there is a seal of approval, right? You get the degree, and other people get that degree. It's the social norm, I will say. And it's handed over by someone else, by an organization. This is not conscious, but it's part of it. When we have to talk about our career achievements ourselves, there isn't someone there saying, she achieved that. But when we've had a degree, No one can doubt it or anything like that because it's handed over to us. So we tend to perceive an achievement that way. It's when we've been putting some work consistently so we can show a quantity of work, the working bee kind of syndrome. So we've been working towards something, and then we get the diploma. We get the seal, we cross the finish line, and there is an acknowledgement of our value then, of our worth. Like, now we can talk about this. Now we've accumulated that. Now we have this kind of a badge, right? So that's an achievement for us. The rest, not really. I want you to think about that. The word achievement, like, where does your mind go to? What says you've achieved something? Is it because you have passed something successfully? Because you got a degree, you got an external proof of something. You succeeded at a test. You passed this finish line somehow. Think about it versus what I'm going to talk about in a minute. But very interesting if this is in a context where we let someone else decide. And it's something that other people can relate to and not contest. So I want you to be aware of that little pattern, that sneaky pattern of going behind diplomas and qualifications to establish your worth and your credentials and your achievement, and speaking about yourself. So let me get to the heart of the matter here. We really can talk up our qualifications, but our own unique effort in our jobs over here, not so much. It doesn't seem to matter to us, and therefore we don't communicate it to someone else. If you actually ask me, this is my opinion, I actually value studies and qualifications less. Why is that? Because there's a lot less differentiation in studies. You can't really show who you are through your studies. I'm not saying everyone does studies the same way, but more or less, right? It's a bit of a mold. There is one content, everyone is absorbing it, and the skills really that you need to have to succeed at studies is more around your memory, the cognitive skills, right? Your capacity to absorb, integrate, and regurgitate information, basically. Not saying it doesn't matter how much intelligence you have. Intelligence plays a role. But if you think about it, that in terms of achievement, if you dedicate yourself, if you do what you're asked to do, if you do your homework, if you study, if you apply yourself, if you show up to the classes, you will get your end result. Yeah, it's an achievement doing it. But to me, the achievement is actually more in the process of studying. It's the time commitment, juggling with other things. It's consistency of effort, and it's applying yourself to learn probably something really new for a long period of time. Absolute achievement, right? But that's not a career achievement as such, because I actually think the stuff that you do in your job is more valuable. Why is that? Because what actually makes up your achievement is what you create based on your abilities, your talents, and your effort. And the thing is, when I hear women who cannot name their career achievement, it makes me say, wow, they think what they're actually creating from that place, from themselves, they're from their abilities, talent, and efforts, what they're creating isn't enough, isn't worth talking about. Is this true? It absolutely is not. All their colleagues would disagree. Their managers would disagree. Men in the room would disagree. I totally disagree with my colleagues that couldn't see it last night. So we have to stop diminishing the value or thinking that that part of our work doesn't matter as much. It's like we are blind to our own genius here. Hello? Because what do we have skills for then? Do we just have skills so we pass the test of employment? We get hired, we get in the door, we have a right to be in this job. Is that why we have career and why we get qualified? No. The skills are there to be the model, to be the fuel. But we are hired and we build a career in order to deliver the what? Okay? And the thing is, you are creating value. It doesn't matter what job you're into. I know you're thinking, Mr. Cecile, I'm not up here and I'm down there and my job is only this and that. You are all creating value every day that you are in your job. There is no exact science and rules that say this value, this isn't. It's a spectrum. It's a continuum. So I want you to start reframing now that you know, if especially you don't like the idea of career achievement, I want you to really start to see yourself as a contributor of value, a value adder, if you like, a value creator. Because that's what you do in your life, but especially at work. And that's why you're paid. Your income is in exchange for the value that you create. So go back and listen to my episode on how to negotiate a pay rise. I talk about this. You know, value doesn't come like your value, your income doesn't come out of thin air. It is linked to the value. I really want you to anchor into that fact that every day at work you're creating value. How much of it depends on you, on your productivity, on how much you're being supported, how clear you are on what you're doing, and so on and so forth, right? And the fit that you are in the role that you're in, okay? I really want you to think you are delivering value because you've got all those things in you that turn into value. And that's what I love because it's unique. The way you create value is different from what value I create. You know, example, I'm creating value right now with this podcast. But what you've done at work yesterday, what you're working on this week, like your way is different. And I had those 4 amazing women last night and they create value in very different ways. And I would have loved to hear it. But not a single one of them could think about, you know, oh, this is the stuff that I do in my job and single out those value creation moments that are most significant, that you are most proud of, that really stand out because we all have them. Okay, so I want you to start asking yourself here, why am I not claiming my career achievements? Why am I not seeing the value I bring? And ask yourself this like you're holding yourself close like a friend. You are giving yourself a hug in a compassionate manner. I don't want you to like be harsh on yourself, but get curious. Why is it that I can't really maybe value myself like that in a work context? Or ask yourself, why do I maybe, feel like I feel more comfortable linking my achievement to a tangible, external proof point, like a diploma or something else? And also ask yourself, who is doing this to you? Who is asking you to think this way? And could it be that this is just self-led? So I'm going to leave you now with some concrete examples because I want you to ask yourself 2 things as a result of listening to this podcast. So number 1, what are your biggest career achievement? You knew this was coming. You're not getting off the hook, my friend. What are your biggest creations of value? What are those contributions that you've had at work? I'm not saying think like you were in an interview context, not really, but go back and scan. And I really want you to look at especially all your relationship, your interaction, because to create value, you have a lot of different levers. You have your skills, you have your relationships, you have your mind and your ideas and unique way of seeing things. You have the result you've delivered because you've been mentored, you've been guided, you've been managed and empowered really well. Or also all the professional development that you've invested in or personal development has led you to think about ways to create value, right? Maybe what you've been reading, what you've been on the side doing to develop yourself. So all of those things are sort of input, and then it kind of all gets mixed up and you create value in your job. That's what makes you you. And I think we are the last person to see it, to be honest. So I'm going to give you some example, but that is not the whole list, right? And I want you to come up with a list of examples of your own. And I've used the rule, 1 example per year worked. So if you work 15 years, come up with at least 15 examples, okay? It's just to give you a little rule. I can come up with 50 achievements easy in my career, okay? And it doesn't matter large or small, but here are examples. Getting a staff member promoted, getting yourself promoted, delivering a complex project, running a program flawlessly. Doesn't have to be complex, but doing it, delivering on time, on budget, without any hiccups, that's an achievement. Changing a process or a program, fixing something to deliver a better result. Taking over a team that was problematic and overturning that. Building relationships to overturn a situation. Like solving problems, removing bottlenecks, pain points, problems, inefficiencies, cost. Also designing something new. Writing reports, creating content, writing a book, okay? And I could go on and on and on, but think about project, but also think about people and what you have achieved. It's like whatever transformation, that's probably a good word for you to think about, that has occurred as a result of your doing. And there's no big or small. An achievement is an achievement. Okay, so you get asked your biggest achievement. So what are the things that maybe, represented the biggest challenge for you or had the most impact, or you enjoyed it so much, you were really proud of it. Okay, so, even if I think off the top of my mind, some of my achievement, I've launched this podcast. I can name how many clients I have actually coached, how many people I have touched with this podcast, with my blogs, with my one-on-one sessions, with the workshops that I have led. I can talk to my work achievements in my corporate career, and we will be here all day because I've run complex projects with different stakeholders across different continents. Like, I can go on and on, right? And I'm not someone special, but I just know how to talk about my achievement. So if I can do it, so can you. And you need to start learning the language, and you need to start speaking that language and to be a lot more fluent into it. So start putting the words, start putting the sentences, and start speaking it out. And then finally, second question for you. What if you gave yourself permission to recognize and celebrate your achievement? Because that's the part of the puzzle that is missing. You got to see them, okay? But then you have to own them. And that means releasing that modesty, that smallness I talked about, and give yourself full permission to embrace it and to recognize them and to feel proud, even before you go and share it on the stage with people, because we're not often doing that, right? But if you can acknowledge that to yourself, what if you became the biggest advocate for your achievement? What would that look like? Can you become that? That's what I'm really encouraging you to move towards. And if you can, after listening to this podcast, I would have done something really good today. Another thing, right? Because You need to be that for yourself. If you can't see it yourself, no one else is going to see it. And you can go hoping for a pay rise. You can go hoping for better. It's not going to come because it needs to start within. It's never going to be just something sitting outside of you. You need to feel it in you. Okay? And I'm going to end on that by saying you are a whole person. You are full of gifts, of skills, of qualities. Qualifications are the embellishment. The brooch on your top, the badge, the permission to play in certain industries, right? But you are so much more than this. And that is what the world is waiting to see and to experience. The world is getting richer, literally, because you are in it, because you are creating value, expressing all the qualities and the gifts and the skills that you have. This is why you're here. And no one else can do it like you do it. Okay? So you just need to stop hiding those things and your value behind external labels like a degree, or stop hiding things behind modesty, which serves nothing to no one. Nothing. I can't even find 1% of goodness in it. And you need to stop letting that fragile confidence about yourself limit you. Because if you wait to feel really confident, you will not. The confidence will come when you see that you may not be fully confident, but you still go out on a limb. You answer the question, you do the thing, you list your achievement. And I guarantee you, when you've done your list, 1 per year, your confidence will be higher than before. Low confidence is just a state to get through to the other side. And how best way to do it than using who you are. Like, no one can take that away from you ever. No one can argue that. And that's what I love about birth chart readings, because it really brings it back to this is you. And no one has got this makeup. You're unique, okay? And then what happens is people feel really empowered after a birth chart reading because they feel like, now I can claim it. Right? But you have it already. And I really hope that I've managed to ignite that sense of essence that you have in you that creates value. And that next time you hear someone or you're being asked about your career achievement, you're bursting with them, because that's just what you do. You just need to see them. So my friend, thank you for being here. I'm looking at the time and this has not been a short episode again. So I'll try next time. But it's been a pleasure being here, talking to you about that subject that's very close to my heart. And really soon, and please share it with your female friends and colleagues. Really, you will do everyone a big service. You're going to help this collective of women who need to break that pattern. So can I please ask you to share to 2 people, 1, 2, 3 people? I'll be very grateful. They will be grateful. We will be grateful as a collective, and the future generations too. So thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will speak with you soon. Bye everyone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to find out more information, you can visit my website at careercatchup.com. There you will find blog articles, free resources, a self-study course for your career direction, and ways to work with me. It's at careercatchup.com. I hope to continue to connect with you and support you. Talk to you soon.